Hello and welcome back to DK Sports Radio. I'm Matt Grubba. This is the Pitt Show. We are going to be talking about all sorts of Pitt athletics today. Had football in the NFL draft over the weekend. That's got Panthers all over the map now in the NFL. We have another recruit for Jeff Capel in Pitt basketball. Huge grab there as he's trying to make this program turn around as short as possible. Also, later on, going to hit on some Pitt baseball, Pitt softball, two programs that are, really shining this spring. Best years in a while for each of them. But first, let's thank our sponsor for Pitt coverage, Bazzi Vreeland and Associates. They're the exclusive sponsor for coverage of Pitt athletics at DKPittsburghSports.com and DK Radio. With several Pitt alums, homegrown Pittsburgh attorneys, and deep roots in the communities of southwestern Pennsylvania, the attorneys at Bazzi Vreeland and Associates are proud to bring quality coverage of Pitt athletics from the top independent sports website in Pittsburgh. Starting out with football, I mean, that's the money sport. It's what everyone was watching. The TV ratings over the weekend for the NFL draft across multiple networks now with Fox and NFL Network, ESPN. The ratings just blowing in the NBA, NHL playoffs out of the water. I mean, it's all about the NFL, and there are a lot of Panthers that are now going to get their shot in different places, whether they were drafted, signed as a free agent. First Panther off the board, as expected by most, was tackle Brian O'Neill. He goes late in the second round to the Minnesota Vikings, and going to a good team, a team that lost in the NFC Championship game last year. A team that, wants to run the ball with Dalvin Cook coming back off an injury, an exciting running back, and a quarterback that needs good tackles to protect him, Kirk Cousins. They just shelled out big money for him in free agency. So, yeah, it's a good fit for O'Neill. They've got some veteran guys in front of him, so he's not going in expected to be a starter right away. I'm sure he expects to, try to work his way on the field. A lot of positive things from a guy who was billed as the most athletic tackle in the draft. He was the third true, pure tackle, wasn't drafted as a guard, off the board. There have been questions with his athleticism. Is he a guy that potentially could move to guard? Minnesota, their player personnel people who spoke after the selection of O'Neill said that they drafted him as a tackle. That is the first and foremost thing that they're going to look at him as. If there's a move in the future, that's to be determined. But, congratulations to Brian O'Neill, of course, a second-round pick. He's going to get off to a good start with his career playing for Mike Zimmer up in Minnesota. He's the first one to follow. We found out about that on Friday. Then Saturday's picks come along. And in the fourth round, early on, two more Panthers off the board. First, Tampa Bay taking Jordan Whitehead. Left early. There's been some people criticizing if he had come back, maybe he could have improved his stock. The first, second round type guy. My retort to that is, do you know that for sure? He also could have come back and his production could have slipped a little because it did slip from his freshman to sophomore years. Could he have suffered an injury that would have hurt his stock further? Who knows that he goes in the fourth round for sure if he comes back. He saw the opportunity, wanted to put his name in the hat, and to me, I think getting picked in the fourth round is a payoff because, let's be honest, it's a lot of good money, but none of these NFL guys that make a long career in the league, their money's not on their rookie contract. It's once they've proven themselves. It's that second deal where the money really rolls in. So if Jordan Whitehead has a long NFL career ahead of him, he's going to have his shot at that money. So going in the fourth round as opposed to waiting till next year and maybe being a second-round pick, I don't really buy into that sort of criticism. And he ends up in Tampa Bay, a place where they drafted a lot of defensive players starting out up in the first round with Vita Vea, the big Washington defensive lineman, just sort of a mauler up front. And the knock on the Bucs the last few years has been that they've been soft. And Jordan Whitehead, certainly that's not a term that applies to him. He's a safety that doesn't mind getting in there, helping in the run game. A little undersized, which might be why his stock dropped somewhat. But in the NFL, when teams are going to go 3 wide, 4 wide, that is, to be able to have a guy like him on the field covering a slot receiver, a tight end, or playing where he is, to be able to come up and stop the run, because how many times have we seen teams like the Patriots run all over the Steelers when they go 4 wide and just hand it off. Yeah, I mean, teams like to run out of wide formations, and so being able to have a safety in there and mix it up like Whitehead, that I think that's a good pick for the Bucs. And of course, shortly after that, 8 picks later, the Eagles, the world champion Eagles. If you heard David Akers rant taunting Cowboys fans with the draft in Dallas, you certainly know the Eagles are the world champs. They took Avonte Maddox, just a hard worker, speedy Pitt corner. He's had some injury troubles the last couple of years, missed a couple of games in each of his junior and senior seasons. But he's a guy that, Pat Narduzzi loves him. He was voted a team captain, good character guy. A lot of athleticism, a lot of speed and talent. 5'9", 184 pounds. That's going to be the thing that might slow him down in the NFL. But the Eagles like what they have. They said too, they don't see a position change right away. They're bringing him in. He played on the outside his whole career. They're going to at least give him a shot coming into camp to start trying out at the outside position, and then as things progress, maybe he moves in as a slot corner. That seems to be where he projects best. But the Eagles were really happy about that. And Mike Mayock from the NFL Network, I was surprised watching the coverage, had a lot of praise for Maddox as well. And if you read my coverage on the website, I included this quote because he said if Maddox was 6 feet tall, he'd have been a guy we were talking about on the first day. So that's pretty high praise right there. And then just a last rundown of the remaining guys we've got. Quadri Henderson, left early, was left disappointed on Saturday, did not get selected. He didn't have to wait long. The Steelers are going to keep him in town and bring him in as a undrafted free agent, give him a tryout as a kick returner, receiver, see what the speedster can do. Just going down the list, punter Ryan Winslow with the Bears, Alex Officer and Brandon Hodges, both offensive linemen to the Raiders. Tight end Matt Flanagan signs with the Washington Redskins, tackle Jared Jones-Smith, and receiver Jester Weah with the Houston Texans. So all in all, 10 Panthers this weekend landing with NFL teams heading into camp. Will any of them become stars in the league? It's a long way away to tell, but for those guys embarking on their career, I know a lot of the Pitt community's behind them, wishing them the best of luck. Hopefully they'll be the next Pitt stars in the league. We will come back shortly, wrapping up the football talk here. We're going to talk some basketball, some baseball, some softball, a lot to cover here on The Pitt Show on DK's Pittsburgh Sports Radio.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this cool new website, stepoutside.org. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, or hunting. Or take part in power sports, shooting sports, or water sports in your local community or across the country at stepoutside.org, where everything you need to know is just a click away. That's stepoutside.org.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts
who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues, with the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Welcome back to the Pitt Show on DK Sports Radio. I'm Matt Grubba, your host, your pit man here on the beat at DKPittsburghSports.com. Let's get to talking about basketball because, my Saturday turned into a pretty busy one in the late afternoon. I was thinking, I was sort of relaxing, covering the NFL draft from home, getting the Pitt picks together, getting ready to come down to Highmark Stadium, cover the Riverhounds that night, and out of the blue comes another big piece of Pitt news that Jeff Capel now has his second recruit for the basketball program, and it's 6'3" point guard Xavier Johnson from Bishop O'Connell in Arlington, Virginia. Kid that, hey, Pitt needed backcourt help. Jeff Capel is getting it and getting it quick. This Xavier Johnson, he's a 3-star kid by most services. ESPN had him as a 4. He's a point guard, a tough, hard-nosed kid. People are already, it's unfair to compare him to Brandon Knight in the Pitt program, but they're comparing him to that style of player. I think because the biggest knock maybe is that his shot needs some work, but, he's a playmaker, distributor, tough guy, hustle player. I mean, that's the mold that Pitt fans like to see. So he's their second recruit. Joins Trey McGowens, who was the 4-star guard that committed last week to Capel. So the backcourt now, people were worried with Marcus Carr leaving, with Parker Stewart leaving. What's going to happen? Who's going to fill in there? So far, Jeff Capel's got 2 kids who are going to come in. They're going to be eligible to play right away, ready to play right away, and presumably they will. I mean, we're talking about a roster where Jared Wilson-Frame is the only senior coming back, and then you have nothing but sophomores and freshmen committed to come back. Of course, Malik Ellison, still waiting on a decision for him. He's a junior, has 2 years of eligibility left. So it's a team where these young guys are going to have a chance to play, and I think that is maybe a tool that Jeff Capel's using to entice a few of these kids that are still up in the air for the upcoming season. Now, Johnson was available because he had originally committed to Nebraska, and the assistant coach that recruited him, Kenya Hunter, he left and went to UConn to be on Dan Hurley's staff. So the whole connection, as if we didn't say Dan Hurley's name enough when the coaching search was going on here. So that sort of ended Johnson to Nebraska. He reopened his recruitment, and Jeff Capel really swooped in and, got a good find this late in the season or this late in the recruiting season for the 2019 school year. And, I mean, Johnson, I can just read you this background on him a little bit. 18.4 points per game for Bishop O'Connell. That's that Washington Catholic League that's always so tough. His coach, Joe Wooten, is the son of Morgan Wooten, the legendary DeMatha High School coach from Maryland, famous for the rivalry with John Thompson, Georgetown, and all the stories that go with that. So, comes from good pedigree, good background, and for the Panthers now, Jeff Capel is finding guys who are going to be able to help right away and possibly avoid the worry that everybody had of, a really down year just while things get started here. He's coming in ready to compete year one. And so that's great to see. And before we wrap up the show for today, we got 2 other teams I just want to touch on real quickly that are competing right now. Pitt baseball, we don't talk about them too much. They've gone through a few lean years since joining the ACC, which, of course, is a juggernaut in baseball with Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Miami, all these programs that win national championships. Pitt has struggled since joining the league. They've not even made the ACC tournament in their time in the league. But that very well could change this year as they're sitting 23-17 overall, 10-11 in the conference, which is good enough for a tie for 6th place. And with 3 series to go, the Panthers are going to clinch a spot in the ACC tournament if they can win 5 of their last 9, and that's without help from anyone else that's trying to get a playoff spot away from them. So for Pitt baseball, I mean, it got a chance this weekend to talk to Coach Joe Giordano. It's really been about pitching and defense. They are second in the ACC and near the nation's leaders in fewest errors with only 36 on the year. Fielding percentage, they're second in the conference to Duke in both of those categories. So they're doing it on that end. They're getting timely hits, winning close games. They won in Miami for the first time in the school's history. They took 2 games out of 3 on the road at Miami, winning one on a walk-off homer by Ron Washington Jr., winning the other one 3-0, behind just strong pitching all the way through. They're doing the things they need to do to win. And talking with those guys, they are, especially the seniors, they want to leave this program better than the way they arrived. And I hope you'll read more about it in my story that's up right now on DKPittsburghSports.com. Check out a little bit about Pitt baseball team. One other that I have to touch on and hope to catch up with soon this week because their regular season's running out real quick. Pitt softball team sitting at the top of the Coastal Division at 14-6. They're 28-16-1 overall, and they have a chance to win their first division title in school history. They're chasing their first NCAA bid since 2015. It would be their second all-time, and RPI is not particularly strong, so they may need to win the conference tournament, but they're putting themselves in a great position to do that right now. They host Louisville coming up this weekend. That's going to be their final conference series, and if they can take 2 games out of 3 in that, Pittsburgh's going to have a division champion in softball. So a big step forward for that program as well. Going to keep you updated on all the goings-on because as spring sports wind down, we're going to have some news in track and field, some of the sports that maybe don't get some press that Pitt's been churning out some decent performances lately. So going to keep you up to date on all of that. I appreciate you listening to the show. Thanks to our sponsors, Bazzi Vreeland Associates. Thanks to Chris Benson producing. Thank you for listening to The Pitt Show on DK Sports Radio.